Hey adventurers, so today is going to be another book review. This is for Annihilation by Jeff VanderMeer. So this is a story that I've heard about for a long time, and I'll get more into how I heard about it and stuff in a second here. But it's one that I've known about for a long time and wanted to read for a long time. So this is, of course, science fiction. There's a little bit of a mystery element to it and an exploration element. It's in many ways a very self-contained story that could go much further if they wanted to take it that way. So I'll leave it right there and jump into my actual review. So I went into this book knowing basically nothing except that the movie looked interesting. So that's how I heard about this book, is back in 2015, 2016, something like that, when the movie was coming out. I was seeing the trailers and thought, this looks very interesting. And so since then it's been in my mind. I still haven't watched the movie yet. I will probably will pretty soon here. But I thought the movie looked really interesting. I'd also heard, since then, I have heard pretty mixed reviews for it. So when I picked it up, I didn't have any idea what to expect. I'd heard some people really like it, thought it was amazing, some other than the ending. Some people didn't like the ending, some people liked the rest of the book, some people liked all the books, some people didn't like any of it. So it's very divisive, I guess, in terms of people's enjoyment of it. But so I picked it up not really knowing what I would think of. I randomly picked it up as an audiobook because I needed a new audiobook. I'd finished all my audiobooks that I had available at the moment, didn't have any more Audible credits at the time, so I was kind of just looking for something. I needed what was sounding fun to me, sounding like something that I really wanted to read, was a sci-fi. So I was like, okay, what's the sci-fi that I can read? I asked on some Discords, got some recommendations. None of them were available, of course, and so eventually I just started scrolling through what sci-fi books were available from my library at the moment, and I saw Annihilation, and I marked it as a potential, and then I kept going for a little bit to see if something else really caught my attention, and nothing did. So I came back to this, and it was the right call for me. I had a basic idea of what the story was going to be about based on the movie trailers, and that was pretty much that there was an all-female group that goes into this area to explore and learn what they can. I was hoping it was going to be super confusing and that I wasn't really going to know what was going on other than what I could see right in front of me, and I couldn't really piece things together. It was kind of just going to be something that was confusing and that I just had to go with. And that's exactly what it was. It was written basically as a bunch of journal entries describing the days as the main character goes through them. And because of that, you don't understand everything that's going on. You don't understand how or why or where this stuff came from or how it's happening or why now or anything like that. All you know is what's directly in front of you, what this character is saying and writing at that moment. While I had no idea how the ending was going to be resolved, even right up until the end of the story, I had the sense from even before I started the book, or from like the very first trailer that I watched or something like that, I was like, I really don't want this reveal to be aliens. And while I won't comment on what the ending ends up being, the way it was done was really the perfect ending in my opinion. And I can't really get into too much because it'll start leaning into spoilers, but it was the type of ending that I would have wanted from a confusing book like this. The world building, the science, the storytelling, the atmosphere, the constant air of mystery and unknown was exactly what I was looking for. I really can't say much beyond that because I don't know that I fully understand what I read. But that is the exact thing I was hoping for when going into this book. I was hoping to read a book that was confusing enough and that was wild and random enough that I could go into it and just enjoy the ride, not knowing where it was going or how it was going to end up, and then maybe still have questions after I finished it, and that's very much the case. The ending is purposely frustrating and unsatisfying, and I think that's part of what makes me enjoy it so much. I can see the intent behind that unsatisfyingness, I guess? Insatisfaction? I don't know. I can see the intent behind it. You don't know what is happening or where it will lead. I almost wish there wasn't sequels because the unsatisfying nature of the ending would be that much more impactful if that was the end of the story. I definitely plan to read the sequels at some point though and see what I think of them. It's probably going to be something like, okay, I'm ready to go back into this and just be confused again, and then I'll read the sequel. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't think it's going to be something that I'm just dying to get to the next one, and I haven't because it's been about a month since I read this book now. While I know this story isn't for everyone, if you want something that is extremely atmospheric and will confuse you but keep you interested the entire time, this might be a good one for you to pick up. So after I finished it, I went through and read some of the various other reviews on Goodreads for this, and people like Ramsey from Rajathon, he didn't like the book at all. He thought it was super boring and couldn't get into it. And then there was various other reviews. I found one from Patrick Rothfuss, the author of the Kingkiller Chronicles, who basically, his thoughts were exactly like mine, where he's just an amazingly well-written atmospheric read that was confusing enough to keep you interested. And that's kind of what I think of this book. And so I was excited to see some of the, well, really the different reasons why people didn't enjoy this. And so that was I don't remember there being much in the way of spoilers unless they were marked in the various reviews that I read. But if you are curious more so after hearing this review and want to go get some more opinions, I definitely recommend going and reading some of the reviews on Goodreads. Probably many other places to review books too. But that's kind of my experience with this book. Very unsatisfying, very confusing and atmospheric, and just a book that I had no idea what to think of it, and that's exactly what I wanted. Because of that, it was perfect. It was exactly what I was looking for in that book, and that's part of why I think I enjoyed it as much as I did. Also, I will say that the audiobook is very, very good for it. I listened to the audiobook, and just the narrator added so much to what I think would have already been a phenomenal story, but then she took it, and the way she narrated the confusion in her own voice as she read it, from making it seem like the main character was just as confused as the reader. It worked so well, and I really, really enjoyed it. So that is my review for Annihilation by Jeff VanderMeer. Thank you guys for watching An Erudite Adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday. We have our social medias linked in the description down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you guys again soon. Stay warm.